it becomes dangerous when you rely on that outside validation to as your fire and as your drive to create or to do whatever you're doing with your life, whatever aspect of your life you're seeking outside validation for. What is going on, podcast people? Welcome back to another episode of Chronicles, man. This is the 10th episode, man. We have made it through 10 episodes of the Chronicles podcast, man. I'm glad. I think I uploaded the first podcast on March 7th and is now May 9th. So we've been through about 2 months of this, man. I hope you all are enjoying the content, man. Always trying to improve the content and get some new things for you guys to be entertained. But today, obviously, we come in with the good topics. And I almost didn't record this podcast. I'm recording this on Sunday. I know I every time I take a step forward, it seems like I take 2 steps backwards. But I'm recording this on the Sunday that I'm going to put it out on. Oh my. Man, I'm just tired. And today was a long week. May is gonna be definitely a tough month for me. It's preparation month. It's preparation month for a lot of things that we're gonna have come into this channel. We're gonna have come into KX channel, and to the KX channel and some other things for you all to enjoy. But it's a lot dealing with that and work, and you're going 24/7. So. We still gonna get this, we still gotta get this podcast out, man. If I didn't let, last week where I didn't I was driving for most of the day and, I don't think it was last week. And then maybe 2 weeks ago, when I did a personal one, whenever I did that college scams episode, I think that was episode 8. Whenever I did that episode, I had been driving for a long time. I came back, it was like 7 o'clock. I recorded it and uploaded it. If I can do that, man, I can't let just a little bit of tired stop me from recording the podcast. So, yeah. But, man, yeah, today it's been a tough week. I think I want to start with something that I've honestly been struggling with this week, but for a while now, in terms of doing this YouTube and building your own brand and things of that nature, or just the internet career, in general is, outside validation. Um, we as people, or maybe I'll just speak for myself, I know that I tend to look for outside validation in what, the things that I'm doing, to make sure I'm doing the right thing, quote unquote. And when I say outside validation, I don't know. Um, what I mean by that is just reassurance that what I'm doing is the right thing, or what I'm doing is going to be profitable, or what I'm doing is, has something of value. That validation can be, people commenting that, hey, this is great content. That validation can be people, talking to me personally about, hey, you're actually succeeding with this. I actually see a future in this content. That validation can range from it's a large spectrum. And I think it is important to get that validation every now and then. I think that it does boost that person, but it becomes dangerous when you rely on that outside validation to as your fire and as your drive to create or to do whatever you're doing with your life, whatever aspect of your life you're seeking outside validation for. It becomes a problem when you rely on that because it's not guaranteed that you'll always get that. And I know, speaking directly into the content creation space, it's a whirlwind of, I don't know, emotions, but a whirlwind of feedback. You're not always going to get positive feedback. And sometimes the feedback is going to be very negative. And that may mean that you need to change a few things that you're doing in terms of the content, or, it could just be those that are hating. That's a different thing. But yeah, it's a problem, and because if you let that be your sole motivator, then can become demotivating if the outside validation is not good. If it isn't validation, but it's negativity. I don't know what the opposite word for that is. But yeah, if those people are telling you that it's not good, your content's not good, or you aren't good, or whatever it is that you're seeking outside validation for, um, it's just a dangerous thing. It's something I've been trying to work on. It hasn't been a huge um, issue in my life in terms of other things, but in terms of my content, I'm very, as I talked about in the perfectionism video on this channel, um, I'm just very subjective into where I what I do with my content, and I always am looking for the value for other people in my content, and sometimes I don't I'm looking so much for the value of other people, I'm not creating the content that I want to create or that I see value in. And so that's why it's specifically dangerous for me, because it can limit the content and my creativity, and also prohibit it as well, by not being motivated to do it, or thinking that, the content that I'm going to put out isn't going to be, cherished by the viewers. So if you're going through that, man, make sure that just a message to you that you got this, whatever you're going through, that you don't need that outside validation, and that as long as it's, you're doing something that's morally right to you, then you've got it. You definitely gonna, there's gonna be a journey. Yeah, it's gonna be, and it might be a long journey depending on what you're trying to do. But you've got it. And that outside validation will probably come. I haven't seen many instances that outside validation doesn't eventually come. It might take you till you get to the top, um, but at that point, the outside validation will not matter. It'll just be a plus, or it won't matter as much. It'll be a plus, and you'll be happy with yourself that you were able to, ignite that fire and not let somebody else do it for you. So yeah, wanted to start the podcast off like that because that's how I was feeling. But yeah, I guess y'all have to let me know if you agree with that, or if you've been feeling that yourself at any time in your life. But I also wanted to talk a little bit more about podcasting. I was doing a stream recently, and people were asking me what is the point, and I've had people ask me this in real life as well. But what is the point of a podcast? They don't really. It's like a hour or hour and a half worth of content, and it's like, what is the reason that podcasts are actually yeah, what is the reason that podcasts are popping right now? Like, how did podcasts come up in 2019, 2020, and 2021? How is it one of the biggest things, and everybody wants to start a podcast now? Um, and my answer to you to that, for my answer for that question is that well, it's probably like a three-pronged approach. Number one, the biggest thing is that it gives the community of a creator, or that those, whoever the person is, gives the community of that person more access to that person's life, and a little bit of an inside peek behind the curtain of how that person actually thinks, and how that person is outside of the content that they create, or outside of what you may know them for. If LeBron started a podcast, the value would be knowing all his life stories and all of the things that he's thinking about while he's trying to, be the best basketball player there is. I know one person that watches the podcast is not going to like that I said that, but but striving to be the best, if nothing else, that's why people would value that content. And it's almost like a documentary, but a constant documentary. Like, or a, what is it? I don't know if it's an auto or self biography, whatever the one is that you're writing in when you're alive. Um, so yeah, which I can't remember. It's been so long since I feel like I learned that in, man, what was that? Third grade or something? I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, you all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's that inside information, and that inside look at who that person really is outside of their content. And I think that really holds value for people that cherish that creator or that person in whatever they do. And also just brings entertaining content to see what other people are dealing with, and what you can resonate with, that they have felt. before. I think that's something that's been huge for me, to be more empathetic to people that I feel have it all. That they've went through some of the struggles that I'm going through now. Because they're older, but they're going through some of the struggles that I'm going through now, and that they made it through those struggles, and they've made it to the spot that they want to be at, and a spot that I hold as success, or one aspect of success. And so I think that's very valuable for those that want it for that creator. But I think it's very valuable to see that person's past, or their stories, and the things that the trials and tribulations they've been through, just to help you through your own life, or just to become more empathetic with different situations that people are in. So I think that's the first one and the most important one. The second one is that podcasts are more sustainable for creators in the long term. They just are a more sustainable piece of content rather than the videos that they may do now. And I'm specifically talking about content creators here, but this can also apply to, I could just go back to the NBA example. If LeBron were to start a podcast, he could have had a podcast from when he was 20 years old to now. And then when he quits the NBA, or when he, retires from the NBA, he can still have that podcast and talk about, what he sees in the youth in the NBA today. And, people will still listen because of who he is, but because they value his take on what he did. And so the people that are content creators now, let's say, somebody like Ninja or Nick Merckx that have, paved the way, or have had some big things that have helped out the gaming community, or the YouTube community in general. If they were to start a podcast, it would have value, because they would be able to talk about, number one, their stories, which was, the number one thing, but also about, how they see the space going now. What were the tricks and tips on, how they came up and things like that. But yeah, they can just continue that podcast, because it's almost like never ending content. They're not going to run out of stuff to talk about, because they can always cover the news of what's currently happening in the spaces that they are in. And that goes for anybody, that is in the public eye, so to speak. So yeah, I think it's just a more sustainable path for content creators after they're done with videos. I know some content creators will never really be done with videos, but they won't be uploading. There will come a point where they're not uploading as much as they are now. Whether that's because of life changes, like they have, a wife or a husband, and have family, or and have kids, and they have other life responsibilities, and they move on, or whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's another source of income, and it's something that it's content that it will last longer than just your regular videos. That's how I will put it. And I think the third, man, I think the third approach goes back to the number one, but it's a little bit different in terms of giving back to your community. I think it's a way to a lot of podcasts, people that have podcasts, put this podcast on Patreon, or put their podcast on Patreon, so that their fans have to pay for it, to get that information, or whatever their stories that they're talking about, or the jokes that they've made, and things like that. And it's a way to kind of give your true self in this climate. It's a man. I know we've already talked about cancel culture, but there are just things that you can't say that people nowadays take offense to. That may be, and this is more in the terms of jokes. But yeah, that comedians are say jokes, and they can't really say it to the mass public, because they would be canceled. And if they're able to, have a podcast, or have a show that they just specifically put on Patreon, or another site that, resembles Patreon, and have that for fans that are specifically a fan of them, and understand their humor, and understand their intentions behind what they're saying, then that allows just more access and giving back to the community. for that content creator. And so I think that can be a cool thing. And I plan to do that in the future. That's just a lot of moving parts that I have to figure out. I'd have to be recording 2 podcasts a week, and that's a lot of stuff. But I have seen it with people that do podcasts that I watch. And while I haven't paid for anybody on Patreon because your boy is broke, uh, no, my money is just always moving around. Um, I I think that it's definitely a good path to go down for people that really like your content, and really want to see, you know, all about your life, all about the things that you're willing to share, of course, on the internet. Um, and they really support you for you because they like you as a person. So that's always cool. But yeah, I think that's why podcasts exist, and that's why that first one is really why other people that are obviously not the content creation watch podcasts nowadays to gain that information, that knowledge, that laugh, that storytelling from that content from their favorite content creator, or rapper, or artist, or basketball player or soccer player. The list goes on, but that person that is in the public eye, from their favorite person in the public eye. And so, yeah, I think that's why a podcast is more sustainable, and that's why I'm starting it so early on when I don't have that many subscribers, because I'll be able to go back and look at this, and we'll see where I'm at episode 100. Man, that's like 2 years from now. Like, man, that's a long time. But yeah, yeah, yeah. The the next thing I want to talk about is this is interesting. I had it written down in my notes, and it was I am afraid to hit 100,000 subs. And the reason I put this in my notes, and what I believe that I was thinking about at the time, was that I am afraid to hit 100,000 subs because I feel that my work ethic will start to decline. I am a person that once I reach a goal, I'm always striving to do more, and striving to hit that next goal. But 100,000 subscribers, while it isn't amazing, it's not, um, it's not the top of the top. It's not the cream of the crop. It is still a pretty high goal. In terms of, people just aren't able to pull it off. Not your average person is able to pull that off. And so, I feel that once I reach that, and when I reach that, I will be like, man, I did it. I'm actually making a couple of bucks off this. I'm impacting people's lives, for the better, hopefully. I'm making some people laugh on stream. Um, and I've done it. Like I can just stay right here. I don't need to improve or um, make massive strides to get better. And I think that that's something that I'll overcome. I'm sure of it. But I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, in the creator space, where it's like you reach a point where you're like, oh, everything's going good. Like this is really good. My views are up. People are subscribing to all my platforms. I'm getting awards or whatever, and that's I mean that's probably past 100,000 subs mark. But I'm getting awards. I'm doing this. I'm making this money. And it's just the fear of what is the next journey. Life is a journey, and when you're on that journey, I think it can be fun if you're on the right journey. I think it can be very fun. And sometimes, obviously, you're gonna have your ups and downs, but once you reach that goal, then it's like, what is your next journey? Like, oh, is YouTube not the thing anymore, or is this a million subs next? Is 500,000 subs next? Is to get a podcast deal next? Is to whatever your thing is, that you're doing. But I liken it to the fact that I have said on many occasions to many people, and I'm not sure if I said it in the podcast. I may have, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but that I wouldn't want to be handed $15 million, and um, I wouldn't want to be handed $15 million today. Somebody just said, "You can have $15 million, this free of charge, nothing, no strings attached. Here it is." I almost And now I don't know what I would do in the moment because $15 million, man, it's you're set for life, right? You're set for life, and you can set other people up for life if you invest that money in the right places, or just put it in account to where you can just make interest off that money and spend the interest and then live your life off that. But the reason I feel that I wouldn't want that is just because I wouldn't feel that I've earned it, and then my journey would be, um, I would feel like my journey was cut short, and I don't have another journey right now. Like I'd have to figure out what I want to do, um, or what I want to achieve. And it's not to say that, oh yeah, my goal is to get $15 million, but it's the fact that like now everything is kind of easy. Now people can say, well, you were just handed $15 million, so anything you do is not on your own merit. Like you paid for it, or you just you boosted numbers with money, or you were able to meet these people because you have this amount of status and wealth. And so I think it's I don't know what kind of fear that is. I don't know. I need a psychologist, you know, to to break that down. But uh, I think it is it's just an interesting it's an interesting thing, man. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I think that that journey, even though it's rough now, I think that it's going to be a fun road. And when I actually achieve that, and feel that I am able to, um, when I achieve that, and I realize that I've hit my goal, I will be able to look back and see all the things that I had to go through to get that, and remember that, and I will actually feel as if, um, I deserve, whatever I was able to accomplish. So yeah, I don't know. That's just the sentiments I wanted to bring up. I know that, yeah, I might be crazy. Call me crazy in the comments. Feel free to do that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. The man, okay, I heard this on a podcast. I know, I heard everything on a podcast, but I heard this on a podcast, and it was talking about the young adult blues. And I think I'm just starting to get into the age range of that, but I feel that, this was a group of like 24 years old at the time, maybe 25 to 26-year old guys talking about this. Um to where the young adult blues, as they describe, is just that period of life where you are, maybe you've just gotten out of college, you're trying to get that first job, or you have that first job, and you're like, okay, this is cool. You're just starting to pay, for yourself, for your life, for whoever else you have in your life, or just yourself, and you're just kind of going through life trying to figure it out, but you're not really at where you want to be in your career. You got a couple of years maybe in corporate that you need to go through to get to the next position, or you're starting your own business and you got a couple of years to try to get profit, actually make your business profitable. Um, but it feels like you're stuck in a rut. You're constantly working. You're working, day in and day out. You're not taking too many breaks, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere. And that you feel that nobody is understanding the struggle. Like, you're showing up for things, you're doing, you know, you're you're constantly achieving the bare minimum. Like you're constantly achieving your work at your job. You're constantly showing up for things that other things that you have to do in life. You're constantly, making sure that everything is good, but it doesn't feel that you're actually progressing to where you want to be in life. And I feel that I think I feel a little bit. I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna feel more of it, but I think I'm starting to feel that a little bit. And where it's like, okay, I've tried something for a little bit. I'm trying to build this content out. It's like, okay, I need some more people to just look at my content to see if it's all right, give me some suggestions, actually make it somewhere, make it to 1,000 subs. I've been doing this for 4 years now. Um, and what I gained most of my subs in, um, this past year, right, in 2020. I think I started in March at 140. I ended up with around 500 at the end of the year, or 400 something. Um, So it's decent growth. But you're always looking inward at yourself as well to be like, okay, what is going to be that video that I need to make that's going to resonate with people or bring value to people, or be funny to people, that is going to actually get my content out there, and just get some more views, and feedback on the content that creating. And that's just in my sense, but I know in other people's sense that they feel like, man, okay, I'm going through college, I've been going to school for 12 years. I've been going to school for 14 years now. I've just been in this cycle, and I'm trying to and just on the hamster wheel, trying to make it through, get this degree, and then I get the degree, and then it's like, okay, what now? Yeah, I can get the job at the internship that I maybe got in college, but is that really what I want with my life? Is my dream job to work at this company? And if it is, then is the position that they're giving me the position that I want? Is the amount of money enough to sustain the lifestyle I want to live? Um, Things like that. And man, it can be a dark place. I'll just say it can be a dark place. And I feel that it can lead to, for many people, depression, anxiety, all of those things. Those are the two that pop in my head. But and then also just a sense of doubt, of doubting yourself. Is this the right thing that I'm doing? It's like, yeah, I'm working, I'm doing I'm putting in the time. So, what if I'm not seeing results? Is this actually the right thing I'm supposed to be doing in life? Is this my purpose? Is this what I truly enjoy? And that's a scary thought, man. That is a scary thought. And I think that I'm at the point where I know that I haven't been doing it long enough. I know that I haven't put in the amount of work that even even myself, I'm not happy enough with. Like, I know that I need to put in more work, um, and that I shouldn't be expecting like a big um, blow up at all. Like, from the amount of work that I put in and the content that's out there now, I don't, I haven't put in the work to get to where in my mind, I want to be in 2, 3 to 5 years. Um, but then you look back and it's like, it's not about the blow up. It's like, okay, well, I think I put in enough work to get 1,000 subs, like that kind of stuff. It's like, I wholeheartedly agree. I don't deserve 10,000, 100,000 subs right now. I get that. It's like 1,000, man. Like, I've been working for 4 years, man. Like, things like that. But yeah, you all have to let me know down in the comment section if you I don't know, if you're a little bit older and you feel that, or if you're younger and you kind of feel that and you've been working for a long time at something that you want to succeed in life, and it just hasn't been working out for you. But I think my advice, or things that have helped me get through it, or currently deal with it, um, is just number one, always being self aware of the work that you're putting in. Is the work that you're putting in the work that needs to be done to get to the next level? You can work yourself to death, but if that work isn't actually progressing you towards what needs to be done, it isn't actively progressing you to where you need to be going. Like, it's just work enough to get done. It's just work enough to meet the bare minimum, like getting all your stuff done at work and then just coming home and, watching TV. Like, if that's, and I'm not saying that's your situation. I'm just saying, are you actually putting in the work to progress? And always being self-aware of that, because um, that's a big thing, and not blaming somebody else or blaming, just space for not advancing. Are you putting in that work? And then if you are putting in that work, are you talking to people about how to advance whatever you want? Are you reaching out to people that have done the thing that you want to do before, or that could connect you to people that are doing what you want to do, or give you resources to advance you with whatever that is in life for you. I think that's a huge step, and that I need to get tremendously better at doing, because you really can't do the things that you want to do. I don't think there's anything in this world that you just can't do it by yourself. You need people to advance. You need help sometimes, and I think that's a big thing. I just said that, but I think that's a big thing for me. That just asking for help. Hey, can you take a look at this, or can you pass this on to somebody that you're connected to, that has a specialty in editing, or whatever it is. I'm keeping it very open ended. I don't want to be just in content creation because, um, yeah, obviously not everybody's doing content creation, but I think it's imperative that you do that. And then the third thing is forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself. It's not forgiving yourself and being patient with yourself. You can't be working yourself to death, like literally. You can't be working yourself to death. If you're doing the first and second, you are self-aware, you're putting in more work, you're reaching out to people, you're doing this, all the things that you need to be doing. And still, well, maybe you're not getting time for yourself. If you're doing those things and you're not getting time for yourself, or you're beating up on yourself because you're not working enough, or you feel, you're trying to do all those things and it's just too much. You have to take a step back and be like, okay, you know, yes, I want to achieve this. Yes, it is my dream, but I can't kill myself before I get there. Being patient, things take time. If you're 20 years old, let's just say, the average life expectancy is 80 years old. You have 60 years. And how many years do you actually feel that you've lived, on your own? And, maybe you could be 25 or whatever it is. How many years do you feel that you've actually lived on your own, making your own decisions, based on your own merit, and have been working at the craft of whatever you want? Maybe for most, that's going to be 2 to 6 years. I would range that anywhere from 18 to 24. If that's the answer for you, 2 to 6 years, imagine the next 20 years of self merit decisions and things that you'll be able to control. Obviously, life will be able to. Obviously, life will throw you curveballs, and there'll be things that you can't control. But the next 20 years, you have to decide of what you want to do with your life. And if you can just imagine those 2 or 6 years amplified by 10 or 6, in that opinion. If it's 6, 3, then amplified by 3 times. Um, that's how much time you have until you're 40, and to achieve those things. You have time, is what I'm trying to say. I know I overcomplicated that thing. You have time. You have time for things to work out. And you're not going to work for the next six years and see nothing happen. There are going to be, small increments that keep you going, and keep driving you to what your goal is. Not saying that if you have a high and lofty goal, it might not happen in 6 years, but you're going to see some success along the way. You do have to keep at it, but also, not beat yourself up when things aren't progressing. You can't actually physically see the success, or the progression, because it is there, no matter how small it looks like. I would the best analogy for that is like going to the gym. It's like working out for the first 30 days. You might not see the results right away, but things are happening. The progress is there. You just got to work, for longer to see that progression. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be a shorter episode, because I am tired, and those are the topics that I really wanted to talk about. I could have some other topics, but I don't want to just rush through them. And I feel like making videos on them actually for the topics that I have here. So I'm gonna do that, for you. But obviously, we got the cam cheat code of the week, man. The cheat code for this week is going to be trying to be different in every aspect in life is going to bring you more harm than, good. I see, I'll just start with myself personally. When I first came to YouTube, I'm like, okay, the gaming thing, that's gonna be the same. I'm gonna stream games, sure, but I have to make sure that my stream is completely different. I have to do everything different, than these streamers to stand out, and so that people want to view my content. And so I have to make sure that my banner doesn't look like this. My thumbnails don't look like theirs. All of this stuff has to be different. Everything has to be different, 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 different. Um, and I ended up just being over bombarding myself, or being overbearing on myself, to where I just didn't want to do it because I was trying to be different in so many ways. I was trying to put so much effort into, so many places, but I didn't have the energy to do that. And then I just ended up like plateauing or not actually doing the work, and then just streaming, doing a very average stream at the beginning, with no differences, because I just gave up because I wanted everything to be perfect. And because it wasn't perfect, I just scratched all of it. at a very, very basic stream. And it was great for what it was at the time, but it could have been better. And I think that people do that in life, just not in content creation at all, but just life. They're always trying to be different than one another. It's like, oh, I have to be different and better. And different implies better in some people's minds. Like they're like, okay, I have to be different and that'll be better than the other person. I have to look different. I have to talk different. I have to, my content has to be different. All the things I can't really think of anything off the cuff, but yeah, stuff just has to be different. And when you're putting so much effort into being different, you're not actually enjoying life, number one, but you're not able to actually progress and see who you are as a person, because obviously people are different. There's nobody that's living the life that you are living, but we are it's the same in some aspects. Like, we are going through some of the same things in life, whether you can equate it, whether we're doing the same job or not, we're still feeling the same feelings, or, just going through the same issues. And, when you're trying so hard to be different, it can be hard to relate to people at a time, and you feel disconnected. And so, I guess in all, and what I'm trying to say is a little bit of different is great. A little bit different is great, but when you're trying to do so much different to where it hurts you as in your content or as an individual, and it isn't really true to who you are or what you actually think, you're just trying to be different for others, then it can be dangerous to you and your own mental health or whatever that is. For you, well, not whatever that is, it can be dangerous to, yourself physically or mentally. And so, yeah, that's the cheat code of the week, man. Don't try to be different in every aspect. It's not that important. A little bit of diversity is great. Um, when it comes to your content or when it comes to you as a personality and, whatever it is other in life. But it's not it's not a crime to be to feel the same or to have the same shoes or to dress the same as somebody else, man. We like what we like. Um, and don't deny yourself that just because you're trying to be different. But yeah, that is going to do it for the end of the podcast, man. I hope you got some value out of it. Maybe you probably didn't get a laugh this episode. I didn't really make any jokes, but all the content was pretty, I don't know, just informational or, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm tired, but I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go subscribe to my KX if you aren't already subscribed to there. I'm always streaming. I know last week I didn't get my streams in. I got like 3 streams in out of the 6 that I usually do, but I'm usually streaming Monday through Saturday at 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to go tune in for that, go ahead and check that out. There's going to be some more content coming on that channel in terms of videos and this channel in terms of videos as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. If you're watching this on Mother's Day, because I'll be uploading it on Mother's Day. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.